Hi, my name is Carissa and this is Tabitha, and we're going to be speaking about racism in the Olympics. Since the 1980s, the Olympics has played a big role in bringing nations from all over the world together to compete and support each other in different sports. However, throughout the years, racism has also been involved in the competition of sports, whether it is from other athletes, the media, spectators and/or coaches. In 1965, the United Kingdom was the first legislation to address racial discrimination and produce a Race Relations Act. This act outlawed discrimination on the grounds of colour, race, or ethnic or national origins in public places.
The Mexico Games in 1968 was a major milestone in the development of racial vilification. Teammates Tommy Smith and John Carlos were asked by Harry Edwards to join together with the rest of the black Americans and boycott the game. Edwards hoped that the protest would bring attention to the fact that American civil rights had not gone far enough to eliminate injustices black Americans were facing. Smith and Carlos planned a non-violent protest in the manner of Martin Luther King Jr. In the 200-metre race, Smith won gold, Peter Norman won silver, and Carlos won bronze. As the American flag rose and Star-Spangled Banner played, the two closed their eyes, bowed their heads, and began their protest. Smith told the media he raised his right black glove-covered fist into the air to represent black power in America, while Carlos' fist represented unity in black America. The scarf worn by Smith stood for black pride, and on their feet, nothing but socks. It stood for the poverty in racist America. Carlos' tracksuit was unzipped to show solidarity with all the blue-collared workers in the US, and wore a beaded necklace which, as Carlos said, were for those individuals who were lynched or killed, and that no one said a prayer for, that were hung and tarred. It was for those thrown off the side of the boat in the Middle's Passage. Initially, the idea was they were both to wear two gloves, but Carlos left his back in the Olympic Village. It was Peter Norman, a silver medalist, who suggested wearing one each. The three were booed off the podium, and the actions of Smith and Carlos were punished. They were suspended from the national team and banned from the Olympic Village. There were also threats of banning the entire track team. Smith later stated, "If I win, I'm an American, not a black American. But if I did something wrong, then they would say I'm a Negro. We are black and proud of being black. Black Americans will understand what we did tonight." 30 years on, the duo were honoured for their actions, and there was also a statue put up at one of their schools.
The Australian legislation produced the Commonwealth Racial Discrimination Act in 1975, which ensured all Australians can enjoy their human rights and freedoms in full equality regardless of their race, colour, descent or national or ethnic origin. Each state in Australia started developing its own racial discrimination or anti-discrimination policies to display national agreement. The 2000 Sydney Olympics became the reconciliation between Indigenous and non-Indigenous Australians, as Cathy Freeman, an Australian Indigenous herself, was chosen to represent Australia. Over the past few years, racism and the fight to stop racism has been an ongoing discussion and the main focus in the media. When Freeman won gold in the 400 metre, her success was celebrated not just as a moment of sporting glory, but also as a moment of profound political significance, as Australia had been involved in the 10-year reconciliation process. The Sydney Olympic slogan, "Change the World," referred to the politics of racial relations and was the beginning of change in racial attitudes. The Olympic ceremony was an opportunity to present a positive story about who Indigenous people are and their place in our history. The lighting of the cauldron flame by Cathy Freeman is another example which was interpreted as the start of the process of reconciliation. Newspaper articles printed the next morning stated what a success Cathy was in the opening ceremony and how she presented the hope for reconciliation in Australia. The media took the opportunity to present stories of racial division as problems being overcome and to reinforce ideas of non-Indigenous people's commitment to racial equality and unity, even though, leading up to the Games, there was acknowledgement of the poor state of race relations in Australia.
You would think that being in the era we are would be more accepting after hearing the negative things that used to happen in regards to racism. You were still hearing of racist comments made through the social media.
It was a huge honour to be asked to be part of the whole Olympic opening ceremony and to light the cauldron. I mean, just to be even considered was a huge privilege for me, but to be actually chosen is a huge honour, and I'm eternally grateful and very proud.
You have been always fighting against race discrimination that has been going on in Australia as well. How difficult it has been for you?
To be very frank, when there have been moments of racism in my life, I have an ability to overcome it, and I think I'm so focused. My temperament has always allowed me to remain a free spirit, and so I know what makes me happy, and I've always just brushed aside such racism. However, it's built, my parents certainly felt it, as parents would with their child. When I had received racism as a child, my parents absolutely reacted, and thank goodness I had great parents who protected me from racism. Although certainly when I left home and as an adult today, I think unfortunately, discrimination is a part of life, and people do live in fear, and they do judge too quickly. And they, generally speaking, people can be still very racist. It's very much the reality of life, unfortunately.
Any form condemnable, but especially in sports, what do you have to say about racism? How strongly do you condemn?
One of the great powers and strengths of sport is that it's a leveller. It's a leveller. It unites people. It brings people together, and it removes colour. It removes religion. It removes how much money one may have. At the end of the day, sport brings people together, and all that matters is the character of that sports person.
End of the race of 400 meters, you were seen carrying two flags. Can you take us through what was the reason for the two flags?
Certainly. I'm very proud to be an Australian Indigenous person, and I've always told people that. People are not surprised when they hear me talk of my pride and my heritage. And certainly when I have achieved victory, I will display my pride in flying both Australian flags. And I believe that not everybody agrees with that. Certainly there's past in Australia where Australians have questioned my intentions. However, if I could do it all again, I would.
Of course, being
advice to the youngsters to stay away from doping. How would you advise them to not to take these kind of shortcuts, and what else to do?
I believe that the real reward isn't in taking a shortcut or being a drug cheat. I believe the real reward it comes with bravery of not taking that choice. The real reward is in knowing that you have enough courage and character to rise above such distractions of exercising an option of cheating, and pursuing a life or a journey of truthfulness and integrity.
You must have seen Olympics and Commonwealth Games, especially the Asian Games as well. Do you see Indian athletes really performing very good nowadays? What did you say about the Indian athletes?
I actually recall watching one of your distance runners, a female distance runner, and I think it was a highlight for me, and it was lovely to see the support that the Indian people, the spectators were giving her. And I could